Howdy folks, welcome to another Tumblr user video. So today is going to be Bad Jokes by Jeff. It's going to be a really great video. I know you all will enjoy it. If you do enjoy it, please feel free to drop a like, comment what your favorite post is, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Without further ado, please sit back, relax, and enjoy Bad Jokes by Jeff.
My ex-wife called me to tell me my son was arrested for setting a house on fire. I corrected her saying, arson. So my professor said, if you were granted invisibility for one day, what would you do? I said, I'd go to Paris and find a mime and beat the crap out of him, and the applause from the crowd would be outstanding. The world's foremost authority on wasps is walking down the street when he sees an old vinyl record in the window of an antique shop. Wasp noises from around the world. Intrigued, he goes into the shop and asks if he can listen to it. Certainly, says the shop assistant, and pops it onto an ancient turntable. After listening to the first track for a while, the world's foremost authority on wasps is a bit confused. I don't recognize any of these noises, and I'm the world's foremost authority on wasps. Can you play the next track, please? The assistant obliges and skips the needle onto the next track. After a while, the world's foremost authority on wasps is still confused. No, I still don't recognize any of these wasps. Can you try the next track? The assistant skips the needle on, and the world's foremost authority on wasps listens for a little while longer before shaking his head. It's no good, I just don't recognize any of these wasps. The assistant peers at the label of the record and says, oh, I'm terribly sorry, I had it on the B side. Mayo is a horse. Mayonnaise. I was named after my older brother, and before my younger brother. Aliens visit Earth, they come in peace and surprisingly, they speak English. Obviously, all of the heads of government and religious leaders want to speak to the aliens, so they set up a meeting with our new visitors. When it's the Pope's turn, he asks, do you know about our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ? You mean JC? Responds the alien. Yeah, we know him. He's the greatest, isn't he? He swings by every year to make sure that we are doing okay. Surprised, the Pope follows up with, he visits every year. It's been over 2 millennia and we are still waiting for his second coming. The alien sees that the Pope has become irate at this fact and starts trying to rationalize. Maybe he likes our chocolate better than yours. The Pope retorts, chocolates? What are you talking about? What does that have to do with anything? The alien says, yeah, when he first visited our planet we gave him a huge box of chocolates. Why? What did you guys do? I found out my girlfriend is really a ghost. I had my suspicions the moment she walked through the door. I think my cat might be a communist. He won't shut up about Mao. An old lady sits on her front porch, rocking away the last days of her long life, when all of a sudden, a fairy godmother appears and informs her that she will be granted 3 wishes. Well now, says the old lady, I guess I would like to be really rich. Poof, her rocking chair turns to solid gold, and, gee, I guess I wouldn't mind being a young beautiful princess. Poof, she turns into a beautiful young woman. Your third wish? Asks the fairy godmother. Just then the old woman's cat wanders across the porch in front of them. Ooh, can you change him into a handsome prince? She asks. Poof, there before her stands a young man more handsome than anyone could possibly imagine. She stares at him, smitten, with a smile that makes her knees weak. He saunters across the porch and whispers in her ear, bet you're sorry you had me neutered. 2 young guys appear in court after being arrested for smoking dope. The judge says, you seem like nice young men, and I'd like to give you a second chance instead of jail time. I want you to go out this weekend and try to convince others of the evils of drug use. I'll see you back in court Monday. On Monday, the judge asks the first guy, how did you do over the weekend? Well, Your Honor, I persuaded 17 people to give up drugs forever. 17 people, that's wonderful. How did you do it? I used a diagram. Your Honor, I drew 2 circles like this. Then I told them that the big circle is your brain before drugs and the small circle is your brain after drugs. That's admirable, says the judge. Then he turns to the second guy. And how did you do? Well, Your Honor, I persuaded 156 people to give up drugs forever. Wow, says the judge. 156 people. How did you manage to do that? Well, I used a similar diagram. The guy says, I drew two circles like this. Then I pointed to the little circle and said, this is your asshole before prison. A blonde drops off her dress to the dry cleaners. The lady says, come again. The blonde says, no, it's toothpaste this time. Professor X asks a girl, so what's your mutant power? Girl, I can guess how many pulls to turn a ceiling fan off on the first try. Professor X, oh really? Girl, points up, 2 pulls. Professor X stands up and pulls twice. Not bad kid, but not a power. Girl, I'm kidding. I can heal paraplegics. Professor X, still standing. Holy crap. In class, a teacher asked her students what was something good that they did today. The first kid says, I gave money to a homeless man. The second kid says, I helped my mom with the chores. The third kid says, I helped an old lady cross the street. The teacher was very impressed and had high hopes for the fourth kid. The fourth kid then says, I prevented a murder. The teacher, amazed, asked the kid how. He replies with, self-control. 2020 has been brutal this year. Now it's just ruthless. I'm American, and I'm sick of people saying America is the stupidest country in the world. Personally, I think Europe is the stupidest country in the world. My girlfriend borrowed $100 from me. After 3 years, when we separated, she returned exactly $100. I lost interest in that relationship. The only cow in a small town in USA stopped giving milk. The people did some research and found that they could buy a cow from BC, Canada for $1,000, or one from Alberta, Canada for $800. Being poor, they bought a cow from Alberta. The cow was wonderful. It produced lots of milk all the time, and the people were amazed and very happy. They decided to acquire a bull to mate with the cow and produce more cows like it. Then they would never have to worry about the milk supply again. They bought a bull and put it in the pasture with their beloved cow. However, whenever the bull came close to the cow would move away. No matter what approach the bull tried, the cow would move away from the bull and he could not succeed in his quest. The people were very upset and decided to ask the rabbi, who was very wise, what to do. They told the rabbi what was happening. Whenever the bull approaches our cow, she moves away. If he approaches from the back, she moves forward. When he approaches her from the front, she backs off. An approach from the side and she just walks away to the other side. The rabbi thought about this for a minute and asked, did you buy this cow from Alberta? The people were dumbfounded. They had never mentioned where they had gotten the cow. You are truly a wise rabbi. How did you know we got the cow from Alberta? The rabbi answered sadly, my wife is from Alberta. A wife decides to take her husband, Dave, to a strip club for his birthday. They arrive at the club and the doorman says, hey Dave, how ya doing? His wife is puzzled and asks if he's been to this club before. Oh no, says Dave, he's on my bowling team. When they are seated, a waitress asks Dave if he'd like his usual and brings over a Budweiser. His wife is becoming increasingly uncomfortable and says, how did she know that you drink Budweiser? She's in the ladies bowling league. Honey, we share lanes with them. A stripper then comes over to their table, throws her arms around Dave, and says, hi Davey, want your usual table dance big boy? Dave's wife, now furious, grabs her purse and storms out of the club. Dave follows and spots her getting into a cab. Before she can slam the door, he jumps in beside her. He tries desperately to explain how the stripper must have mistaken him for someone else, but his wife is having none of it. She is screaming at him at the top of her lungs, calling him every name in the book. The cabbie turns his head and says, looks like you picked up a real beach tonight, Dave. Therapist, so what brings the two of you here today? My wife, it's impossible to live with him. He's too literal. Me, my truck. A man murdered his wife and was sentenced to death. There was a crowd waiting around the gallows to watch as the hangman put the noose around his neck. He was asked, Do you have any last words? The murderer said, yeah, I have a joke that I came up with while I was waiting. So, I hadn't showered for a week by the day I killed my wife. I tied her up and told her that I'd cut her apart while she was still alive. And she told me, at least cut my nose off first. Everyone there burst out laughing. The hangman said, that joke was about something terrible. Why was it so funny? Well, I believe you can make a joke about any topic funny, said the murderer. After all, good comedy is all about execution. A wife desperately tries to prove to her husband that her affair is over. He had already forgiven her, but still hadn't spoken to her in days. The only thing she could think of is that he must still not trust her. To convince him, she cut her ex-lover's obituary out of the newspaper. Her affair ended long before the accident, but she thought she could ease her husband's mind once and for all. You see, she told him, he was struck by a drunk driver. I wasn't drunk, he replied. The bar staff asks why the non-linear structure. Quentin Tarantino walks into a bar. 6 was scared of 7 because 7 ate 9. But why did 7 eat 9? Because you are supposed to eat 3 squared meals per day. Today I decided to go visit my childhood home. I asked the residents if I could come inside because I was feeling nostalgic, but they refused and slammed the door in my face. My parents are the worst. I changed the tags of my mother's herb jars. She hasn't noticed it yet, but the time is coming. I wanna tell you a joke about a girl who only eats plants. You've probably never heard of her before. Did you hear about the mathematician who was afraid of negative numbers? He would stop at nothing to avoid them. I was drinking a margarita and the waitress screamed, "Does anyone know CPR?" I yelled, "I know the entire alphabet," and we all laughed and laughed. Well, except one guy.
I hope that you all enjoyed watching Bad Jokes by Jeff. I hope that you all enjoyed this Tumblr user video. Again, if you did, please feel free to drop a like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. I was really excited about this Tumblr user video, so let me know how you enjoyed it in the comments. Let me know if there's any other Tumblr users that you would recommend for me to do. And then I think later on this week I'll be able to tell you what 2 Tumblr users are going to be coming up for next week, so that you all can look forward to it. Again, you know, I will see you all in a couple hours, but I tell you then, but I'll also tell you now. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. Have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, night. I'll see you in a couple hours with Top Tumblr Post episode 41. So until then, peace out, guys.